Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Executive Education series. Let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Anthony Tan, to the session.
Hi, everyone. First of all, very good afternoon to all of you. Pleasure to have this opportunity to spend 1 hour with you to go through performance management series. All right. First of all, let me just share with you my screenshot. Then we can start the sessions already. Okay. Okay. All right. First of all, this is our first what they call education executive learning series for this year, 2022. In fact, this year we'll be doing 10 series, which is from February until I think our last series will be in November. Now, this is a great opportunity because it will be 10 series, and of course, this year we're going to do it a little bit different compared to what we did last year. And this time, we're going to give you the PowerPoint presentation in PowerPoint shows, which is reviewing learning science and multidimensionals. So in fact, if you attend the 10 series, you were able to actually keep the whole series material for your learning purposes and so forth. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you a lot of benefits for those who people really want to understand how to drive performance for organizations. Now, today, I'm sure many of you are not familiar with the word called plus factor, which is perfectly all right, because I think some of you are pretty new to what actually is the use of a plus factor. Now, this plus factor is actually very powerful for many reasons, because it actually gives you a fresh perspective on how to set targets and drive result, okay, from something that the conventional approach might not allow you that flexibility on how you want to drive performance, all right? So anyway, I will share with you a little bit as we go in. In fact, I will say quite comprehensively, I will share with you what actually is plus factor. And in fact, after the session, you can go back and apply this in your organizations. First thing first, I think let me just introduce myself first. I'm Anthony E.L. Tan. Now, basically, I'm the principal owner of Top Foresight. And what Top Foresight does basically is we specialize in performance management solutions, which means we help organizations to help them to put framework in place. Very important, help them to develop content, quality content, because every organizations are different. And of course, because of the COVID-19 today, our frameworks, the way how we help organizations to develop framework, especially for small, medium-sized organizations, you'll find that it's very, very powerful. Of course, which means to say I'm also the senior lead consultant, specialized in the field of performance management. Now, the other thing what I do basically is I'm also a certified strategic management and balanced scorecard practitioner, all right, from the Balanced Scorecard Institute at George Washington University. Now, I have spent almost more than 20 over years in these particular areas. And of course, I am very privileged to be able to work with top-notch company. In fact, I also help organize to look at the corporate strategy 3 to 5 years. I also help organizers to look at, for example, doing audit of their corporate scorecard. More important to understand what are the fundamental issues and so forth. So with this number of years I have, I'm really, really privileged to work with some of the very best company in the industries. Aon Credit is one of them because they engaged us way back in 2014. And until today, we are actually helping them to further refine and how to drive performance. Now, I specifically mentioned Aon because it's very challenging simply because they have 4,000 people, and every year they have to do assessment, how we're going to drive 4,000 people throughout the whole country. All right, of course, we had the privilege to work with HBI, which is actually a Japanese corrugating company, all right? And basically, we are continuing to help them to evolve in how we can drive performance from the manufacturing standpoint. Of course, currently, I'm very privileged to also work with Sabanet, okay, which is a new project I'm embarking with them, and how to put performance framework in place. So I'm very blessed in the sense that I have a great opportunity to learn, not only just provide content, But in many, many ways, it's provide me tremendous opportunity learning from others as well. So one of my strengths, I would say simply, is that I think I'm a very competent facilitator, and one of my critical strengths is analytical skills. So that actually helped me a lot, and we facilitate, so they're making sure that the clients were able to develop quality contents and so forth. So this is just to give you a very simple introduction of what I do over the years, okay? All right, now let's go into the main subject matters. Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Let's go into the main subject matter. Now today, as I said, this year we are doing very differently compared to what last year, because last year we tend to give you a lot of things in each sessions. This I will be very specific topics, and every month we will go on the specific topics by topics. All right. So this time I'm going to talk about the use of plus factor, a new approach in setting targets and driving results. Now, guys, ladies, please feel free to ask me any questions, and please feel free to stop me at any point in time. You can actually key things you want to ask me, or you are not too sure. Please feel free to ask. I think learning is very important. Learning must be a communication channel in which how not only just you hear from me, I also like to hear from you, what are the challenges you have in driving performance. All right. Now let's start with the first one, problem statement. All right. Now, in order to understand the use of plus factors, I think I'm going to take a simple case study just to share with you what actually happened in a particular scenarios that I faced with. Now, this person is a senior manager administrations. Now, basically, she have decided that she want to set target for her executive to improve their efficiency. And one of the measures she has decided to select to drive this area is timely delivery work. Okay. So in other words, she knows precisely what she wants to do. She also has an idea what kind of works that each of the executives she wants to assign so that she can drive the result. Now, each month, she has decided that there are 2 activities involved with each of the executive work, and the total number of activity, she fixed it to not more than 24, which is a very good thing to do, because sometimes what I always worry is everybody want to manage too many things. Sometimes manage what is relevant is actually very, very important. The issue here is this. For her meeting target, okay, has to be 100% as far as she's concerned. That means to say it's no big deal. If I give you a work to do and time delivery, by the end of the year, I expect that you must achieve 100% for meet target. All right. So this is the typical situation. Of course, if it's not 100%, it's not an issue. The issue here now is this. In order to drive performance, she also needs to establish stretch target and high performing target. The problem here now is you have only 24 activity and meet target is 24. How do you then set stretch target and high performance target? So that was actually the problem statement. How are we going to do about it? Now, first of all, before we have a little bit idea, because the problem with performance management is so dynamic. So let's focus on why stretch target and high performance targets are very, very important. All right, first of all, let's look at rating system first. Let's go into a rating system. Now, typically in the industry, if you want to drive performance, we don't use single, what they call value to determine performance. As far as I'm concerned, that's called compliance. So the rating point system used in the industry, typically there are various types. The 3 rating point, 4 rating point, 5 rating point, there are 6 rating point and 7 rating points. So I'm not going to go into that far really. All right, now what are rating point? Rating point simply means is that there are 5 points of ratings in individual, whether they're performing or not. And what are the 5 points? Poor, below, mid, stretch, and high. So precisely what it means to say that we must also able to rate whether you meet the requirement or not, whether you exceed the requirement or not, or whether you outperform yourself in the particular areas of driving performance. So I think that's a very important aspect of it. Now, what is 5-point rating system? I find many people get very confused that all is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me share with you. It's not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. What happened? Sorry. Apology. Okay, my apology. Let's go back to the main page. I go somewhere else. Okay, let's go back here again. So basically, it's this. Okay. Now, when we say 5 rating point, it doesn't mean it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be 1, 3, 5, 7. It could be half, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5.5. Okay. So basically, a 5 rating point, it doesn't mean it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just that there are 5 points or 5 areas in which how I would determine whether an individual performing or not. So it's of course, the de facto standard in the industry is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, I would say almost 90% people were using the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, the 5 rating point system is the most highly recommended because it's actually very balanced. It's not perfect, but it's very balanced. We can actually tell whether you're performing or not. Sometimes you meet target, you might not meet the target, but you're not a poor performer. You just didn't achieve the meet target you want. And sometimes we want to evaluate whether this person exceeded more than just meet target and whether he's a high performer in terms of the final results. So the rating system are very important because the rating system allow you to now eventually calibrate measures and compounded several measures and eventually will give you a score of what is the total score rating of performance. So when you want to evaluate somebody's performance, we do not use a single measure because it is a combination of measures. Now, today, I'm not going to go into very details about how we decide what are the common measures. I just want to share with you what is the plus factors. All right, so that will give you an idea about basically what a rating point system. So at least you understand when I say meet target, high stretch target, high performance target. So in every element of 5 rating point, we have to determine where you are in the particular measures here. All right, so that actually provide you an understanding on this matter. All right, so unless you have any question, you can always stop me and I will try to answer you those questions as best as I can. Okay, all right, anyway, just this is to give you a little bit understanding of what is a 5 rating point and why establishing stretch target and high performance target are very, very important. Okay, now let's go back to the main page again. So that actually provides us an anchoring of how I'm going to approach this subject on plus factors. Now, let's go in now, setting target, the use of plus factor. Now, this is now the conventional approach is actually not a problem. That's provided that the meet target is not 100% or the stretch target is not 100%. All right. Now, if your meet target and stretch target is not 100%, I think the conventional approach is perfectly okay. It's not a problem now because I can say meet target means if there are 24 activity, I then predetermine that 21 of your 24 activity, if you establish for me, I give you a rating of 3. All right, so everything must be compounded into form of rating systems. So you will get a rating of 3. All right, so now if you meet stretch target means how I give you a stretch target, you'll get a rating of 4 that's provided you do 22 or 24. Here, I'm just talking about single measures of how we want to do it. All right. Now, the issue here is this. When I decided, and we always remember, possibility must be taken into consideration. But if I have decided that I want to set meet target 100%, I have a problem now because now the meet target is 24 or 24. How do that establish stretch target and high performing target? I don't know any one of you face this issue or not because I have company who does face these challenges. And of course, at the end of the day, everything becomes very subjective, or I think you do very well at the 24 activity, or I don't think you do very well at the 24 activity. All right. So this is actually the challenges, the problem facing if we suddenly decided that meet target had to be 100%. And I tell you one thing, in some time, this is a requirement. All right. So how do you overcome this problem? Now, let me just share a little bit further with you. The problem with conventional approach is perfectly okay. However, it does not allow the user to take into consideration of what about other important parameters that we want to incorporate, not only just on time, so that we can actually give people dimensions on how we define performance of a particular measures. In other words, in this case, it not necessarily has to be just timely delivery of assigned work, okay? And how do you quantify it? All right. Now, what are parameters? That means to say, if I do a piece of job, okay, there are other considerations that I might want to take into account, and I want to compound it into the driving of a performance of the particular measures. Like, for example, it can be ahead of time. All right, it can be ahead of time. It can be submission with no mistakes. This is just some example. Quality of submission to agreed standards. Sometimes we say, okay, when we do a submission, these are an agreed standard. As long as you meet the agreed standard, that means you meet this particular requirement. It could be over something to do with SOP. You must be sure when you submit, it's not just submit in. Did you comply to follow the rules in which how the submission needs to be done? So this is just some example of parameters, just simply for us to actually discuss about how we can use plus factors. So you can see the issue here is that if I use the standard method, all right, it will provide us a little bit of issues here because I do not know what to do. So now I want to compound it, the other parameter, into the determining of stretch target and high performance target. That means because I cannot just use the 100% alone, I had to decide what factor can I compound inside here and compound inside high performance target. Let me just share with you, this is very interesting because one of my clients, which is in manufacturing, suddenly they give them tremendous avenue on how to manage production using plus factors. This opened up a whole new parameters of defining performance. And I will share with you later on to see how they actually use it. All right. So now you understand we want to take not only just a single factor, if we want to take multiple factors in determining a performance that we want to do it. Now let's go in a little bit more here. What actually is a plus factor and why plus factor is very significant for many companies nowadays. And actually it simplifies a lot of things. Number one, using plus factor will allow us one thing. We can overcome that limitation of 24/24. We were able to build new concept and new fundamental into it. Number two, it simplified the way to set target for complex requirements. Now, of course, 100% is just one of them, but there could be other complex requirements you want to take into account, and I can actually put it in, all right? It allows great flexibility to drive performance. Now, when I say great flexibility, means to say there is not any one particular way how you do look at it. It depends on between the appraiser and the appraisee to decide how you want to do it and how the organ decide to drive performance in that aspect of it. The fourth part, which is actually very, very significant, multiple way of achieving the target. Now, I just show you a simple scenario. Assuming I need to achieve 24 out of 30 to meet target. But what happened on the 6th month or in June, I happen to have one activity did not meet the timeline. Now, this is very important because in June, if I don't meet the timeline and it's I know I can get only maximum 22 out of 24, I very discouraged already. That means I say, okay lah, since I can't meet the 100%, I don't bother about it. After all, a worst case scenario, I get 22, I get 21 or whatever it is. So I think it's very important is when you do performance, performance is not just what you achieve at the end of the year. Performance is actually allow individual to drive the performance from the very beginning, from January onward, until you're able to drive to the end of the year. All right. Now, so let's go into what is a plus factor. Now, in this case, the plus factor here, I just put a D to denote that it is a plus factor. Okay. Now, let me show you how to do it. Actually, you don't have to worry whether you have a system or not, but actually it's a concept that you can even apply in your organizations, irrespective whether you use a system or not, but you have a methodology to drive performance. Very useful for project management, very useful for things that where you need 100%, and very useful for manufacturing where the volumes are large and you cannot calculate performance based on the volume, because when you base on the volume, then you get lost in the middle of the year, which you do not want to do that. Okay. Okay. Now, let's go in, and of course, I'll let you pose a question. Now, how to use plus factor? This is very, very important. I will tell you, this is a game changer for organizations in many aspects of it. To do a plus factor is this. We can no longer just use A over B. We had to incorporate a D, we call it plus factor, A plus D over B. So when we put A plus D over B, that means A is whatever agreed targets, and B is whatever the volume involved in determining the performance of what you need to achieve. So in this case, D is a plus factor, where D value can either be 1 or 2. Okay, now this is very important. I want to qualify. If your mid target is 100%, you can only use 1 or 2. There's no other thing because we don't want to make it so complex. Now, what is 1? So I don't have to worry about where it comes from. In this example, we define 1 as if 12 hours submission, no resubmission. I purposely use a simple example. Okay, this is not a how we want it. So it could be as simple as that. To get 2 means I must have 12 submission with no resubmission. All right. Or in this case, I use another factor other than timely leave, or you can also use any other factor or combination of factor in using plus factor. It's extremely powerful because it suddenly gives organizations or individual the great flexibility of driving performance from that angle of it. All right. So guys, this is what is called a plus factor. Now, anyone got any question before I go further? Because I will then show you an example of plus factor and how we can apply it in the kind of work that you want to do. All right. You can actually key into the chat and ask me a question, or you can directly ask me the question.
Yeah. Hi, Anthony.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay. You are Miss?
Yes, my name is Gina from Links Ed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon. You mentioned earlier on that plus factor is on 1 and 2. Am I right?
Yeah.
Can there be a 3?
Okay, that's a good question, Gina. All right. Of course, here it's like this. If your mid target is 100%, it definitely has to be 1 or 2. Okay, you ask a very interesting. But sometimes in the situation is the boss might say, hey, mid target is also your 100% is nothing great. If you achieve 100%, okay, it's only below target. That means to say your 100% is not mid target anymore. It's that means to say I set 24 at below target. So you're selling a message to your staff that, hey, even 24 is no big deal. All right. If you use a plus factor, then you can +1, +2, and +3. So you can actually have more than not only towards 1 and 2. That is only provided the condition is that your 100% is not mid target now, your 100 is below target. Now, another possibility is in some situation is the bosses must decide that hey, mid target is quite good, but it's only stretch target. So if mid target is very good, stretch target, then your plus factor is only 1 and you don't have 2 anymore. Have I answered your question, Gina, or everybody quite clear about that?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. All right, let's go a little bit in detail and show you more example here. Now, this is a very interesting example based on the problem statement that we talked about. So now, like just now earlier on, we have an issue because we do not know how to incorporate to drive performance. Now, always remember, it's no point you have a KPI and your KPI just gives a figure. What we want to do is to drive a performance. I want to send a clear message to my staff, all right? So to drive a performance now, I say very simple. Now, actually the percentage for me is no big deal. It's actually the calculation part, how we want to determine. In this case, to get stretch target, I set a requirement is 24 + 1. Now, this one can be anything I mentioned to you. To high performance is 24 + 2. All right. So in this case, this is the way how you actually set the target. Now, let me share with you why this is very powerful, because when you set the result, all right. So of course, typically this could be the result. This at the end of the year, I got 24 or 24, which means I'll get a rating of 3. I couldn't get a rate stretch or high because I couldn't even achieve 10 on my submission with no resubmission. Now, some people are very quality conscious. So we want to tell you, when you submit, please don't just submit. If there are mistakes to make, all right, it's no point you submit it. And we cannot say, oh, you missed it, it's not submitted on time, because sometimes you have to understand staff all have different skills, all have different qualities. So we also have to mitigate the whole situation. And some people are very efficient, but they are not very qualified. Some people are very qualified, not very efficient. All right. So in this, typically, I can get this result. However, this is very interesting. Let me show you something else. You can also get result to get below. It doesn't mean must be 23 out of 24. I might have 22 and +1. I still can get below target. Now, if I only achieve 21 on my activity on time, I know very well, I better make sure all the 21 activity, 18 of my activity must be no submission. So I still can get below target. Of course, nobody wants to aim for below target, but the whole idea about performance is you want to mitigate the situation. I always say this, sometimes you cannot meet target, but you shouldn't go below target. When you go below target, that means to say, cost letter must be issued to the staff. Why are you achieving poor target? So in other words, sometimes there are many fundamentals, there are many challenges. You might not even meet target, but you must able to at least try very hard. If you can't meet the target, you must try very hard to achieve below target. All right. Now, so you can see that suddenly what happened by incorporating plus factor, we now allow people to drive the result, even if in the worst case scenario, they still want to drive very hard at the end of the year to make sure the second half of the year, I must make sure my submission is of quality. Same thing, meet target. Now, meet target become very interesting. Let's say by June, I only achieved one activity which didn't meet my on time. But I will still try very hard that at least all my submission must be of quality. All right. So in other words, to achieve meet target, there are three possible outcomes that can achieve meet target. One is 24 out of 24. I can also have 23 submit on time, but of which 12 are submit with quality. I can have 22 activity. All right. I can have still 2, this one. All right. So you can see that how things that you can do here. All right, so you can see how the various things can be done in this manner, right? All right, so I want to share with you this. Now, the same thing is if you have stretch target. Now, stretch target also have 2 possibilities of getting a stretch other than 24 plus 1, it could be 23 plus 2, and high performance target, of course, there's no compromise. It must be perfect 24 and it must be perfect 2 plus factors. All right, so I think that is a very interesting way of looking at the whole thing. Now, however, I have a question by someone else. It says this, Umi asked a question. Now, if everyone, you go to the chat, you can see what is the question. Now, let me just share with you. What if instead of 24 activity, the actual number of activity carried is 23? Can plus factors still work and how? Now, I think that's a great question, Ibi. All right, let me just share with you how it can be done here. Now, the using of plus factor is very interesting because it takes into consideration of variables. Now, of course, if I actually had 23 activity, what I will do, one way of solving a problem is I'll put 23 plus 1, whatever is the result, I will plus 1 into the result and compound it in this manner. All right. So that is basically how you actually can incorporate into this one. So sometimes it's 24, Umi said this, 24 is what we plan. I mean, we can plan 2 activities a month until the 12th month is 24. But you know, like COVID-19 situation, suddenly there's a situation where you really, that whole month, maybe no activity carry out, and suddenly there is no, how to say, fundamental to submit a report or submit things on time because there's just no activity. So we cannot force a situation that, oh, it must be, how to say, 23 over 23. No, in this case, I will be plus 1, and that will be the result that we have to mitigate. All right, so my answer is very simple. You just have to adjust it in this manner. So in other words, very important to take into consideration how you want to drive the result. Of course, this will give you an idea, for example. Okay, you know very well, that will give you how the rating will score depending on whether you meet the target or not. Okay, so this is one example of how you can incorporate plus factor, okay? How you can incorporate plus factor in the determining of your result here. Can you hear me clearly, everyone? Am I too soft or not? Everyone? Okay, let's go through another example of plus factor. Let me see. Okay, okay, great. You don't have a problem here because now let's look at another example of plus factor. All right, let's look at the second example. Now, this is quite useful for those who manage projects. All right. Now, here I want to share with you this. Here, of course, I take into consideration there are 7 projects. Okay, there are 7 projects. Okay, same thing. When you plus factor is A plus D, always remember A plus D, D is a plus factor. So in a 7 project, and because in project management, this is an unwritten law that meet target must be 100%. That is an unwritten law. You go to any property development company or people in the construction industry, nobody say meet target is 6 out of 7 project not on time. All right. So in this case, I use plus factor. I use variables already. I use 2 variables here. Okay, you can use any variable, but in this I use 2 variables. Here I put a condition that the project must not exceed the cost budget and must meet timeline. That means 3 of the project must not exceed the cost budget and meet timeline. I can use other variables. 4 projects must not exceed cost and meet timeline. So in other words, I compounded the whole thing, because if I don't put the timeline, that means I can have a project not on time, and yet I still can get a project that compounded for a plus factor here. So in this case, this becomes very useful. So you can see that the plus factor in this case is 6 over 7, 7 over 7, 7 plus 1 over 7, 7 plus 2 over 7. So this will allow you to actually mitigate the situation here. Of course, eventually, okay, if you look at example, let's say toggle, you can see here, everything is always 1 and 2, okay? Irrespective whether the number is 24, whether the number is 36 or not, it's always 1 and 2 in the plus factor. And here, simply because we use unit factor 1 and 2, simply because the meet target is set at 100%, all right? Now, if you look carefully, take for example, year end. So year end, these are possible results. I can all my 7 projects on time, all right? Chances is if out of the 7 projects and if all my projects exceeded my cost budget, that's all I want to get it. All right. But however, again, the possibility are quite interesting in the sense that I can 5 projects on time, but I have a plus factor of 3 projects of the 3 of the 5 projects, I didn't exceed the cost. It could be 4 of the project, I didn't exceed the cost. All right. So it can also be in this manner, where I can do a variability. Of course, to be high performing means you must accomplish everything. You must not all your project must be on time. At the same time, you must have at least 4 projects not exceed the cost budget. All right, so this is just an example on how you can use plus factors in this. I also mentioned a couple of interesting how my client actually using plus factor in manufacturing environment. So, but I just want to show you this is how you actually can do it in this case here. All right, so that will share with you how plus factor can be used in many elements here. So please, any questions, please feel to ask so that I can share with you some other examples, mention some other example in which how you can use this method to actually drive performance results, and you will probably get better results. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Now, let me also share with you some very interesting elements. I have clients who are in a manufacturing environment where the volume per month is a lot. So typically in the past, assuming I produce 200, I always calculate what is the total volume by the end of the year. So what my client did now is they use a plus factor compounded into, take for example, I give an example is they weigh on the percentage of meeting the performance on a monthly basis, let's say 80%, okay? Then they measure over 12 months, how many of each month are able to achieve the 80%. Now, because the degree of difficulty becomes very complex in the sense that 80% is a very high standard. So in this case, it'd be like 10 over 12, 11 over, let's say for 10 over 12, then 11 over 12. However, the company decided to compile plus factors to say, even it's 10 over 12, let me tell you, this is a different way of 100%. Even there is 10 over 12 month, but of which 3 of each month you exceeded by more than 10%, you can get +1. That means to say, even though, I give you an example, another different dimension, which I don't want to give too many examples here because then we won't have time to actually cover the aspect of what are the things you want to do. So even though you might not achieve, let's say for example, all the month, But more important thing is the quality of production they actually compound it. All right, so that is also another we use of plus factor. Okay, so any question here, guys? This is just to give you an example of the use of plus factor. Have any one of you actually used something like this at your workplace? Anyone have done something of this nature at your workplace? Let me see, there's a question here. All right, so none have ever explained something like this. Okay, first of all, did you all see the benefit of using this method of driving performance? Actually simplify a lot of things here. Okay, so someone actually previously asked me this question. See, you don't ask, I will just share with you this particular question. I have people who ask me, Anthony, I also do projects, but I don't do 7 projects. I was given a single project. So the question was this: if it's a single project, could I actually use a plus factor into the single project? If it's a single project, the answer is yes. Of course, normally in single project, I will not. Single project, I can use various ways to do it. But for project management, plus factor is actually the most powerful way. All right, so you can actually apply plus factor into a single project if that is a necessity for you to do it. All right, so that will give you a better ideas about what are those things that you can apply in how you want to do all this thing here. All right, so let me just do a quick summary. So that will.
One more question.
Yeah.
What if in the year 12 months, instead of 24 activities, there's only 23 for one particular employee?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's that one. I just explain it one more time again. I'll say that is like this. So if you have 20, let's say we plan on 24, okay, and so happened we couldn't have 24 because the actual happening was 23. Like for example, COVID-19. Suddenly something I need to do, but I couldn't do because of COVID-19. So instead of 24, we now have 23. Now, when we have 23, okay, so what we do to solve the problem is, instead of 23, we put 23 plus 1. Here, 23 plus 1 again. So that will actually how you actually solve it. So you just have to add the parameters inside here and how you calculate in this manner. All right, that's one way of looking at it. The reason why you have to do like this is assuming, but of course you might not have to do like this. If you use percentage as a determining calculation, you only do this. Now, let me also share, but assuming some of you don't even bother to use percentage. Now, you only use percentage provided if you have a system. But if you don't use percentage, then in this case, you don't bother because you just say that whatever is a number here, you will just take a factor in it and you will be, in this case, 22 or 23. You will 22 plus 1 over 23. You will just go along that basis. So I think your question is very important, but let me also explain to you that at the end of the day, it must be, you must customize it. You know, a concept is only as good as how you want to apply it. And of course, at the end of the day, your people must be very clear on what are those things that you can apply on it here. I hope I answer your questions. I think that's the most important part here. All right?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. All right. So basically, this will give you an idea what is a plus factor here. Okay. Let me tell you this. Please use it. You can actually go back. You can take one particular measure, but always remember, some people ask me, can I use plus factor for all my measure? Answer, please no. You can't use plus factor. It's only when you have these special conditions, or it's only when you have condition, like I told you the manufacturing one. The manufacturing is very interesting, is mid target is not is not 10 months over 12 months. It's not 12 months over 12 months. Mid target is 10 months over 12 months, and they use a plus factor. So I want to show you that in situation like this, you still can use plus factor, but because the standard of performance result in each month, they set it very high. Even to meet the 80%, they say it's really, really no joke because they really had to set high performance. And to exceed the 85% itself is a tremendous effort. All right, so this is one example of how manufacturing organization, our manufacturing company use plus factor to make the whole thing works in a more, how to say, more performance driven than what they used to be in the past. Okay. All right. So now basically is, of course, if there are more questions, okay, feel free to ask more questions. All right. You can actually type in other questions that you have. All right. And then I will share with you this. If you have a particular situation in your organization and you want me to share with you how we can mitigate it, please feel free to ask these questions. So anyone got any further questions? All right. If you don't have further questions, I will share with you this. All right. Now, just to let you know is this. You're going to learn on how to use technology and automation actually to do plus factors and how to do it, because we have a public workshop on the 23rd and the 24th. Of course, this is an online workshop. Okay, it is a 2 half-day session. So it's an experiential KPI and target setting knowledge enhancement workshop. And we are using KFA and KRA method. Okay, so we are actually using this method. Now, let me just share with you a little bit. I will share with you this. Of course, if you attend the workshop, you will actually to use plus factor even more significantly, because we have tools that we actually develop in it. Now, this 2 half-day workshop, okay, is a very powerful workshop simply because we're going to share with you how you can implement key performance indicator initiative to drive and grow talent. I think that's one of the important things that we want to do in this workshop. And of course, what we do is it's going to be very practical. There's a lot of know-how and how KPI can be developed, incorporate the use of key focus areas methodology. Now, what are the learning objectives? Okay, the learning objective for this workshop is, of course, to make sure people really understand what's performance measurements. What I find this is very strange, because I find a lot of people use KPI, but effectively they only single target. A single target is only a compliant, means, okay, even some public workshops. So we're going to share with you how you actually can overcome those problems. Developing KPI is very easy. Anybody can develop KPI, but the develop meaningful KPI becomes very important. That's the reason why we have one of the most powerful methodology to actually help you to develop KPI using key focus areas method. Now, what our key focus area method means, this is something which I want to share with you, okay? Very important is this. Now, let me just quickly run through with you why this is very significant. Now, guys, if you stay until at the end of the sessions, I will be giving you this learning material in PowerPoint show. Last year, we only give PDF file. This year, I'm going to give you all PowerPoint shows. So in this PowerPoint shows, okay, you can actually use it and share this information with your staff, with your management, so that they can understand better. So everything that I show you, you can use it. And we actually, and I'll tell you what kind of approach we use. So key focus areas is actually now one of the most powerful and most practical way compared to a lot of other methods like OKR. I'm not saying OKR is no good. OKR is very good, but OKR provided you are so strong in develop objective statement in a very powerful manner. So here we're using key focus area and align to key result areas. So at least people understand if I have key focus areas, what are the key result areas that it linked to? And sometimes a key focus area can link to more than one key result areas. All right, in this case, operational efficiencies actually affect 3 key result areas. Financial, sometimes, not all the time, maybe customers, because depending on the industry you're in. And sometimes it's just about how efficient you deliver the job. All right. Customer service can actually expect customer expectation. And in many ways, sometimes it has to do with efficiencies. All right. Now, of course, these are very dynamic. These are just general tools in which to tell you what to do. And if you look carefully, very interesting, you'll find that a lot of people didn't realize that actually effectiveness is one of the key drivers, because a lot of your key focus areas actually has a lot of impact on effectiveness. All right. So I think that's very important to do this. All right. Timothy, thanks for the question. Why use key focus areas and not OKR? Now, first of all, I think many of you are familiar with OKR KPI. KPI is just a measure about performance. And after I just do a quick introduction of KPI later on. Now, OKR is a good method. Okay, and of course, you know, OKR is used by Google's, by some of the top North American companies. The problem with OKR is this: you have to be very clear about your objective statement. That means to say at the corporate level, the objectives are well defined, and most of these top-notch company, they get the top-notch consultant to actually funnel the corporate strategy and come up using the OKR. Because your OKR is your objective must be clearly defined, and then you drive it down here. So if you don't have a strong foundation in development objective, then OKR is going to give you a lot of problems. That's why some companies try to use OKR and apply in their organization. It didn't work very well. It's not that OKR don't work very well. It's simply that fundamentals are not run in place. Okay, now the question is, what's so different of KFA? Now, KFA has a very powerful method in which, for example, of course, I don't know whether I have something to show here, is that every objective statement related to operation are already clustered into each of the key focus areas. They are all well defined. Of course, you can always add. So if I want to know an objective statement for, let's say, competent team, it's already compounded inside it, then you just select from it. So that's why the key focus areas allow us this possibility of clustering objective statement and measure by it, and it solves many, many problems. Take note, I'm not trying to say that KFA is better than OKR, but I'm just trying to tell you, if the fundamental in which how you drive and organizers are not very strong, then it's better to use KFA because it allows you to have that ability. After, I think I might have an example to show you to drive in this manner. So Timothy, I hope that I answer you those questions, because I'm sure some of you using OKR method, and sometimes you notice you struggle with it. It's not because the method is no good. Method is very good. Now, I would suggest that some of you, if you are interested to know the different OKR, KRA, KFA, please go to our website and you go and search for a video, and there's a video that explains to you what is OKR, KFA, and so forth. All right, so you just have to go to our website, go to Top Foresight website, and in the Top Foresight website, we have a lot of learning materials, and we have many videos down there. Go and search for OKR, KFA, and KRA. The video, I think, is about an hour, so you just have a look at it, because I always say something is that today, learning is very easy. Just go and have a look at it, and you can actually learn about OKRs and so forth. All right. And of course, the last part of the learning activity is very simple, how to set meaningful target and target range. And here, we're not only going to share with you how to do plus factor, we're going to even share with you how to use percentage adjustment, especially for measure like revenue. Instead of plugging numbers, you use a very powerful method where the adjustment is very easy for you to do it. So one of the things that we are doing very well, because we have very good tools and very good ways in which how we can help to enhance your learning. All right. Now, what we'll be getting now, of course, that is what's very unique about us, is that number one, you'll be using what we call a dynamic learning tools. So this is a dynamic learning tools. In fact, why I want to give you this PowerPoint show for you is that this PowerPoint shows actually incorporate learning science and multi-dimensional in a simplified ways, in the sense that, for example, I want to go in something, I just click in. So you will show me what are the learning science, I can click back. So in other words, it allows you to interact different information as wherever you need to apply it. All right. So this is very powerful. We're going to give you a very good learning tool. It's as good as ebook, but it's even more powerful than ebooks. In other words, this is like an ebook, if you ask me. You know why? After you attended my 2-day workshops, all right, or the 2 sessions, which means to say, effectively, if you do not know anything, you just go into the learning material. All right. This is just one example. I can click in here. All right. So it tells me what are the subject matters I cover. At the same time, I want to go to the main page. I can go to the main page. I want to know what the step-to-step objective statement. I click on it. All right. And it's so easy for you to learn. If I want to go and look at this one, I can click on it. All right. I want to go and do the next page. I want to know what is the key focus areas. I can then toggle to understand what you need to do here. I can toggle. Okay. I want to go to my subpage. I can click here, go to subpage. And I can tell one thing. We make learning become fun because it makes learning very, very easy. I want to go to the main page, and you can go to the main page. Now, this is one of our pride development, because this is not a typical PowerPoint presentation, LCD project or PDF file where you want to look for the materials, you have to go through one by one and so forth. Now, take for example, if I want to learn something, I click on it. All right. I want to learn something here, I click on it. I can learn something here. Okay, I want to toggle what I want to learn. I can just click on the toggle here. I want to go back to this subject matter. I can click this subject matter because learning is dynamic. Every one of us learn things differently. So our learning tool is verified. In fact, the one that we do for very high end, they even find it fantastic because you can learn anything at any point in time. That's called learning science. All right. So you can actually look at any subject matter for that matter, and you click on it and you can see how the material works. This is just an example, a real example of what you can. But sorry, when I give you the PowerPoint show, you cannot access to this because this is actually accessed through our system that you have here. So you can learn anything. If you want to know what's target setting, I click on the target setting. Okay. If I want to know the issues, I click on the issues. And sometimes you have certain issues, you click on it. All right. So you can actually see how the learning tool works. All right. So this is actually a giveaway for all of you because that means you said learning must not be learned from the today session you have with me. Learning must be continuous so that you can continue to learn what are the things that you want to do here. All right. So you can see the power of our learning materials, and you can see that why our what we call online training people are very happy with it, not because we are very good or anything like that, but because we incorporate technology, we incorporate learning science, and we incorporate multi-dimensional in how things has to be done. Now, example, if I want to learn framework, I can actually go in. All right, so I want to framework. Then within the framework, I might have subsection I want to learn. I want to know what is criteria, performance criteria set. I click on it. All right, I go back. Okay, so I want to look at it, and I want to know support services. I click on it. I can go into business use. I click on it, and I can go back again. All right, so this is actually called multi-dimensional, which means to say I can crisscross information with various aspects of learning because we cannot go and search for it. So the subject that we put in down are always related to the things that you want to do. So I want to look at bonus distribution. I want to look at it because the subjects are interrelated so that you can actually look at it. And you can do a demo. Of course, you can actually do a demo. Means to say, when you want to learn something, you want to see, okay, how you want to learn about bonus distribution. Look, these tools, I can tell one thing is very, very powerful. One of the most powerful learning materials that I'm sure that probably many of you have never come across, that when you attend a workshop, you have such a powerful learning material that you can actually apply it, and you can actually go back and coach with your people. You can discuss with your people, and learning must be able to spread, not only just those people attend the session here. All right, you can have a group of people to understand and how you apply it. All right, you can even access to the material without any difficulty, and all the contents are here. So if you want to pick up certain contents, I just have to pick out the contents here. So in other words, this is our learning materials that you can get here. All right, so that I tell you, we incorporate learning science and multi-dimensional. I had to tell one thing, developing KPI has never been that easy. Anyone who attend a program, KPI is a very complex program, but the minute you attend a program, you realize that it is quite easy. All right, so this is the thing. On top of that, we also give away target setting tools, smart tools. Now, these smart tools are built in with very smart macro, very smart features. It has certain intelligence on how you want to do it. And all the smart tools that we give to you, we customize it with your company logo. That means to say, however, every smart tool are only exclusively to be used by your organizations. I don't know why it takes so long to come out. All right. So anyway, this is a smart tool. I can customize the screenshot. I can change any ratio I want. All right. I just show you the capability of the smart tools. All right. So I put full screen. I can see a full screen. Now, if I want to go tabs, I just click on. It allow me to tap. I want to select measures. I click on the measures. Okay. If I want these measures, I just click on this, click back, and I will then paste the measures. You want to select an objective, I can go into the objective. Remember, I told you the objectives are all clustered, and all these objectives, you can customize it, provided I'll tell you later if you want how you can customize it. All right. So I want to select this objective. I click on it, I click back, and I put it here, and I paste the objective. I can also search for an objective if I want to search for objective. All right. So I can actually do. I can develop my key focus areas. I click here. All right. I want to add sales. I click here and I paste, and I transfer this object, the the key focus areas here, and that's how the whole thing are developed. And the tools are very smart because assuming I come from set number 3, it tells me I come from set number 3 and I can go back. I can then toggle. Okay, if I want to go to set number 5, I go to set number 5. I want to set a measure. I go to here. It will tell me I come from set number 5 and I click here. And of course, I can, it doesn't matter if I don't want to copy, never mind. And it can help me to go to set number 5. Let me tell you this is an extremely powerful target setting tools. And then if I want to toggle, because I want to refer to who I set the target for, I can just toggle between the set that I want to do. All right. And of course, as I mentioned to you, all those people who come, we will customize to their company and the logos and everything that you can use for your organizations. Everything will be customized. All right. So that is the tools that you will be getting. So today I just do a quick introduction. So it's a key a name, let's say Anthony Tan. Okay. So let's say, for example, Anthony Tan. Okay. Then I go in here. My name will appear here. So I go back. I decided I want to keep my position consultant. Okay. Yep, I click here. I go back. I go in. And I can actually now do target setting in any how I want. The tools are such dynamic nature. It can allow you to do a lot of things. So you can set target. I can do anything. It allows you to do distributions. So that is one example on how target setting. So let me show some more examples. For example, let's say in this case, we also have learning tools for so that you go back, you can actually learn how to do target settings. So in other words, we will cover all these things simply because we were able to do 2 half-day sessions simply because we have the tool and the capability to do this. So we actually teach you how to use plus factors, and we do not know you can actually apply how the plus factor can be done. So in other words, I can go in, okay, you enlarge, I can put it here. So it teach you. So this is actually to teach you how to apply various things. I view lock is smart enough to lock the resolution, and I don't want to save. All right, so this is actually what you'll be getting. All right, so this is actually extremely powerful. Of course, this year, our material has improved leaps and bounds compared to what we did for last year. So, I mean, progress is a continuous thing. I'm not saying last year our materials are no good. It's just that we keep progressing and making the matrix more and more powerful as compared to what we did for last year. All right. So this particular target setting tool is a whole new engine, which allows you to do a lot of things here. All right. So that's give you an idea about what are the materials that we have here. Anyone got any question here? All right. Next, who should be attending this workshop? I just want to share with you. Okay. Of course, if you are HR senior manager and you are looking to look into how to implement performance management, I would strongly recommend that it is good for you to attend. For senior management who want to know how to actually set up performance or target for your business unit, for your organization, you will find quite useful as well, because if you want to do transformations, of course, anyone who needs to drive performance and develop key performance indicator, I highly recommend this program. This program was developed simply because of COVID-19, and we were able to come up with this program at this kind of price, okay, probably less than $1,000, okay. You will find it's unbelievable. It's really value for money that you want to get here. All right, so these are the people that who I will strongly recommend as long as you want to learn how to this fund. All right, investment as well. This is to tell you what's the costing of investment as well. Early bird is 950. That's before the 28th of February 2022. Normal price is 1150. Okay. However, we're going to give an additional 10% discount for 3 or more participants per organization. Let me also tell you there's another advantage here. If some of you who are corporate client or past participant, we will offer you a more interesting offer. Now, I want to tell you one thing. This is very interesting. If you attend the program, all right, under your company name, as far as concerned, we consider corporate client, then you can get your colleague to attend and you still get 850. That is provided your company is registered in our training program. So if you attended your program under your company, your colleague also can attend at 850. let me tell you, this is very, very special offer. That's before the 20th February. Of course, if you are this one, so normal price, you know, is 1050. That is after 28th February, you still get $100 discount. All right. Now that's the questions. Yes, HRDF claimable, no problem. Our program HRDF claimable. But however, I want to qualify for you, Shane, is this. You see, HRDF has a little bit issue here. Now, take for example, the offer is, I want to be very upfront with you. The offer is assuming you get it at 950. Unfortunately, in HRDF, you only can claim $700. The $250 you had to pay. You can't claim for HRDF because HRDF limit for a one-day program is only $700 per participant. So I want to be very upfront with you. You can claim, but unfortunately, you can't claim 100%. Sean, I hope I answer you the questions. You cannot claim 100%. Now, however, I have several good news for you. So this is just a standard. Because you are attended today's sessions, all right, I have a very special deal for all of you. Now, if you register before the 22nd of February, all right, we're going to give you a set of customer library objective statement and measure. Now, this is a big deal. Now, when I say this is a big deal, means to say, once you have this, you can customize any objective statement and measure. Because if you don't have this, I want to share with you. If you don't have this, let me just 1 second first. Yes, it's under SBL HAS, correct? That one? Yes, it's under SBL HAS. Okay, I just hope I don't ask whether is this under SBL HAS. Yes, it's under SBL HAS. Now, why this is a big deal? Because I will tell you why. Now, if you were to go for the library here, now this particular library is actually dynamic. But if you don't have a library, if there's only 177 measures, but actually for me it's good enough. I want to tell you, it's good enough for most of the time. The objective statement is also good enough for general work. But the minute you have this special investment here, you now can customize and add more measures. Instead of 177, you can add 178, 100, 200, and so forth. All right, you can continue to customize your objective statement. This one is we normally only give for those people who are doing development sessions. But for y'all, I'm willing to throw in this so that this is very, very powerful, that you can do a lot of things on whatever you want to do here. I have a question here. The library of standard job position with build objective statement sample, what are the benefits? Oh, okay. Maybe you were looking at this. I will just evening here. Now, let me explain to you this. All right. This is like God sent. I will tell you why. Now, what happened now is this. In a small company, now the difference between a big organization and large organization, big organization, they have the fund, they have the time, they go to customize it, they go through a development exercise here. With every job position, we actually custom, we discuss and so forth. In a small company, you might not have the budget to go and do all this kind of customization and so forth. So the library now becomes very powerful because the library now means that we're going to give you a set of objective measure by job position. Then what you need to do, if I have an accountant, okay, I will just go into the library here and then straight away pluck it out. I have objective measure for accountant. Now, if I have, for example, in this case, ICT managers. Now, I probably do not know, okay? So you would just go into this library here and pick up the ICT manager, voila, you have all the objective measure that most probably will fit an ICT manager. The strength of what we do is we are very, very strong in content. All right, we're very, very strong in content. And today, what I also make a commitment that if we continue to add more content, that means to say that you will, as long as you're a participant, we're going to provide you additional content with no cost. That means to say, assuming March, we come up with a new, because here could be, in this case, various functional units, and there could be additional functioning which is not inside here. We will then give it to you so that you can actually develop. You can make a request. I say, I always tell people, I told my clients, if we don't have something, you can make a request and we will then help you to put this inside there and also to help every other of our corporate clients, because I think learning, sharing is one of the most important things. So this is fantastic. This is a God-given one, because you can see it's so easy to develop contents very easily, because the contents and all the contents here are built within the 170 cent measure. So you don't even have an issue of whether you can develop those content or not. All right. So Sean, I hope I've answered your question, because this is actually a very important part here. Now, remember, this is an investment. Now, if you registered before the 22nd, all right, before the 22nd, if single person registered, you will get, let's say for a company decide only want to send one person, we will still give you the customer library. But if you send 3 per company, we will give you this library. All right. So that means to say, let's say I'm a HR manager now. I actually got 12 job positions. Somebody asked me how to do a KPI. Oh, 2 things you can do is send them to a KPI training program. And after coming back, they still blur. So this time, you don't even send a KPI training program. You just have to develop for them and then use my learning material and teach them. So that makes it so much easier. In other words, we will cut down your development exercise easily by more than 50%. On top of that, we will have a half-day session again to do the customize, to show you what to do. Because I can give you the material, but you do not know how to do it, it's no point. Second thing is, I'm not going to spend the half a day, the paid program, to go and cover all these things. I will be wasting your money and resources. That's the reason why, if you only those people who attend this, we will throw a half-day session so that you can actually go and do it here. So this is a very, very special deal. All right, so that will give you an idea about the kind of training programs. Let me tell you, this is value for money. The minute you attend, anyone who last year attended a program will tell you one thing is this: for the price that we pay, okay, you are getting more than you ask for. Even to pay for library in certain market, you got to pay for it. And these are priceless materials that you're going to get it. All right, so that is the special deal that we are giving up in this particular program here. Okay, now, second thing is this. As I mentioned to you, we're going to have a lucky draw. All right, we have a lucky draw here. All right, but anyway, before we do that, any more questions? Now, please don't go out. After the sessions, Pavi will send you the link. Actually, Pavi, you can send the link already and let them download the material. Pavi, send in the link and you can just go to the chat and download the same materials that you see me presenting. And this materials is incorporate learning science and multidimensional. Now, let me explain to you a little bit of learning science here. Learning science means to say, if you look carefully, this typical PowerPoint, you click, 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 it will not move. Okay, not like typical PowerPoint. You must click on an object. If I want to see an object, I click on an object. Okay, I can click back without any difficulties. I click anywhere, it will not move. If I want to see problem statement, I click on it. All right, I click anywhere, it will not work. You want to go back, I have to click me, you go back. So this is actually what we call PowerPoint materials. All right. So Pavi already sent to you in the chat already. Okay. Now, if there's no questions, okay, I will do a draw lot. Now, let me just share with you this. Number one, this is a gift for you because this is the first time we are given a very powerful learning tools. Go to the chat there and download it, please. Just click on it. And when you click on it, it's a PowerPoint show already. And you can do exactly what I'm doing. And you can see how powerful it is. I want to go questions. I'll go questions. I want to go back to main. I click the main back. Okay, I want to go workshops. I click on the workshops. Okay, and here, if you want to look at the brochure, you click here. You can download the brochure. If you want to register, you click on the register. You can download the register. You can go to question and answer. You can go to the main. You see how maneuverability is this PowerPoint shows. It's not like a typical PowerPoint shows. This is called learning science and multi-dimensions. All right. So I will stop my sharing. So I will just leave for you to have any questions, further questions. If not, we will do a draw lots. So those people who register for the program. Now, let me tell you the condition of the draw lots. Of course, number one, you've registered, okay, and with the condition that we want. And number two, you have to be in this program. I'm going to call up the, once Pavi do the draw lot, I'm going to call the name. You must make sure you have registered your name and and you had to call out and say, let's say for example, I say, Sean, are you there or not? You say yes, then you were entitled to attend our next month program. I'm giving away two free seats, okay, as part of the gesture to thank you for coming and support me, support Top Foresight in our continuous effort to enhance learning and drive performance. So we hope that the next session, we have even more people to come up. Unfortunately, the next session is the 11th of March. Sorry, we're not giving free, we're not giving another free, what we call seat here. So, but however, in the next sessions, I'm giving a free books. One of the things that we're giving a free book is called The Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a fantastic book. So sometime we will provide you and give you encouragement to encourage us to do. So next month is actually the topics I'm covering is, let me see, let me check. I've forgotten what is the title of the topics I'm covering now here. Next month, there's a very interesting topic is that why it matters to use measure with the right unit target types. I find that this is a huge problem in organizations. They use measure and then they do not know the correct unit target type. For example, revenue, put percentage, let's say timely delivery, put days, response time, put days, all these things. So if your unit target type are not correct, okay, effectively, you might as well don't do it because it's going to waste your time. So next session is 11th of March, okay? 11th March, I will be giving away a free books. There'll be a draw to do the free books. So I hope that two of you here will be happy if you are selected to attend my 23rd, 24th workshops. Are you ready to start with it? If you are ready to start, I will hand over to Pavi so that she can just do a draw and you can see how we're going to do the draw here. All right, Pavi, all yours already. Okay. All right, Pavi, I tell you what I will tell you this. So all the person names are inside here. So she's going to do it. Let's have a little bit of fun. Two persons will be selected to participate in this program. So Pavi, let's start with the first one. Do a draw, please. Click, start. Leslie. Leslie, are you there? Leslie Wu? Leslie Wu, 1, 2, 3. All right, Leslie is not inside here. Okay. We have to remove. Yeah. Okay, remove, please. Huh? Sorry? Okay. We had to do another draw lots. Okay. Close. Yeah. Pavi, please. Best of luck to all of you. All right. Miss K, are you there now, Miss K?
Hello.
Miss K, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. I hope you look forward to the 22nd, 23rd workshop.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What we will do is you have to give us full companies, and because all the tools, we don't just give you, you will be customized to your company name. I just want to tell you this. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
All right. Okay. So, fantastic, Miss K. Congratulations for joining our workshop. All right. By force. Okay, let's have the second one, please. Close it. Let's have a second one. Pavi, please. Okay, let's try the second one. See who is. All right, Miss Low, are you there, Miss Low? Miss Flo? Miss Flo, are you there? Miss Flo, are you there? You're not there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have to remove her. She's not there. Okay, let's try one more. Okay. Avi, let's try one more. All right, Mr. Rajkumar, are you there? Mr. Rajkumar?
Yes, I'm here.
Ah, congratulations. I hope you're looking forward to the workshop. Huh? I know
Yes,
you're forced to attend. Huh?
No.
Forced to attend because you got drawn out to attend the workshop. Okay, I congratulate you. Sorry?
Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. All right. But please, again, provide us the information, provide us the logo. We need to have a logo of a company, yeah, so that we will insert to the tools and we will put inside down there. All right, guys. For the rest of you, well, I hope that you also can join our workshop. So we look forward to your participation. If you have any inquiry, please feel free to ask. If something that I cannot answer all your questions, can you please probably return me? Yeah, you can always, it's not the end of the thing. If you have something you want to ask me, you can always ask me this. All right, so we will try our best to help you. If you want clarification, please feel free to ask. All right. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the sessions. I think that's the most important part. Okay, I hope it's not too heavy. I think that's the most important thing, not too heavy, and I think that's the thing.